I know. You going to the game?
I am.
Good for you. That's nice.
I am.
How
I
many how
am.
many Charlotte Hornet games have you? I mean, Charlotte Carolina Panther games have you actually been to?
This will make it number 3.
Oh, okay.
I only go when the Eagles play.
I actually my only time I ever saw Dan Marino play live. They played the Panthers,
Oh,
and I went to that game back in the
cool.
day. I think it was like 98 ish,
Mhm.
somewhere around there, 98, 99 maybe. And Jimmy Johnson was still coaching.
Wow.
And I think the final score of the game, Rod, was 10-7. It was one of the worst games I ever seen in my life.
That, that's
But
funny. When I went to see the Eagles, first game I saw them play with Panthers when they were on their run of NFC championships. I
mhm.
came to see them here in Charlotte, and the score was 10-7. Like the absolute worst game ever.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I mean, Marino threw a
And it was,
touchdown pass,
but it was football weather, so it was actually cold outside. Like I had on my Eagle Scully and my Eagle sideline jacket the whole night because it was cold out the doors, and I sat outside to watch that horrible game.
it was yeah.
It was bad, but I didn't care because I was like, this might be the only time I get to see the squad all together that was making that run. So
No, that
it
makes
was,
sense. You got to do it. You
yeah.
got to do it.
So I was there, and I stayed to the bitter end. Um, that was your man Freddie Mitchell and all of them. So
Not
championship belt. He
terrible,
actually, because where I was
terrible,
sitting, I was
terrible.
actually sitting in the end zone area because I just that morning got up and was like, you know what, I'm gonna go to the game.
Oh, they giving a shout out to Hubie Brown. That's my dude. So I got the Memphis preseason game on, and they did
Oh,
they
okay.
opened up a new hall called Hubie's Hall. So when you walk through, to
Oh,
get,
neat.
yeah, they gave him some props for rejuvenating that franchise basically. But speaking of rejuvenation, me and Rob was just talking about your boy JJ Watt, and we're
Hmm.
just like, I mean, he is slowly but surely becoming the football Mr. Glass. Because I'm just saying, I mean,
Last joke.
like this dude didn't even get hit, didn't even get blocked really, and he just turned the corner. I mean, I know stuff like that happens, but we were just sitting there. I'm just sitting there thinking like,
Well, what? Because I didn't see um, what happened. I just know that he was like by the time we got back to the house or paid attention to what was going on with that game, it was JJ Watt was carted off the field, and I never saw the replay of what happened.
so
It
I
was a
was
no contact injury.
so I was watching the game and I didn't see the first linebacker get hurt, the other dude, and
Mm-hmm.
they was talking about it, and it was funny because they was literally talking about that dude when the play went, and basically it was just a pass rush. I think they did a stunt, and he wound up.
Mm-hmm.
He started inside and went outside, and he got
Mm-hmm.
double teamed. But when he went to turn to kind of push off on one of the double teams, his leg just planted, and you could see his leg buckle just a little bit. Then he took a couple more steps, and then Alex Smith threw the ball, and then they said, he's on the ground. Like he didn't get blocked or not. Like they just held him up. It was a double team, because when he came off the stunt, they just held him up. I think it was, and I was just like, he broke his leg, like.
Right.
And I was telling Rod, I'm like, you got all these commercials with you pulling and knocking down trees and in the Gatorade and all that stuff, and like, what are you telling me? Are you getting the right people to look at your body? Like, I mean, I get it, it's football, but come on, he didn't even.
Now my thing is he taking some type of, not trying to say that he is, but could there be some type of PED that he's taking that's causing his body to break down?
Oh, that's what that's a pot. I'm not trying to say it is, but
Right.
he didn't have a lot of these injuries in college. Like did he? I need to go look at my research before I say that.
I don't think he did, but I mean, some people just are not fortunate.
Yeah,
I guess.
No, I get it.
And it might be something with Houston, because your man Arian Foster, even before he gave up meat, like, he got hurt all the time in Houston.
Yeah. So Houston's medical or training staff?
Could be the training staff.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not, like I said, it happens. I know sometimes you're just unfortunate, but there's a lot of people that take a lot more hits. For some reason, they
I mean, it could be the training staff. I know my trainer, he's a Bears fan, and he used to say every year, he was like, they need a new training staff in Chicago. And I'm like, why? He was like, second week, we are out of almost all of our starters. He's like, some of that has to be conditioning. And I mean, he's a personal trainer and he used to play football. I couldn't argue with him. I figure he might know. So
he might be making that call to do the Giants as well. Good Lord. I mean, Odell Beckham Jr.'s was fluke, because you go up, you come down from a pass, somebody snatch you, and your leg plants before you know what I'm saying? Like, and
his leg got caught under the other person.
Right, under the other person.
Yeah.
I'm like, Sterling Shepard and Brandon Marshall. I'm like,
I was about to say Brandon Marshall though.
What happened? Because I again missed that part too. Didn't see that part.
He old. That's what happened. He started. They worried about Brady and all these other boys falling off the cliff. Brandon Marshall is slowly. It's about.
So what? I mean, did he pull his ACL? Tear his ACL or something?
No, I think he.
I thought it was the ankle.
No, he twisted his ankle. He went to reach for a ball, caught the ball, he didn't catch the ball, and twisted his ankle. Got his ankle up. But yeah, just all his injuries, man. I mean, we say it every year. Seems like there's a lot of injuries. But I'm gonna say it again. It seems like there's a lot of injuries.
It seems like they're talking like clumps, though.
But I feel like the injuries started escalating, increasing, however you want to say it, once they started shortening OTAs, training camp, and all of that stuff. Because I really feel like it's a conditioning thing where guys just aren't as in shape. Their muscles aren't as ready to go for full contact football like they used to be. Because the minute I feel, and I feel like there's definitely an increase in non-contact injuries.
Right.
Because that's really the thing where dudes, like, after they shortened all of that stuff, you know, with the CBA and all of that, all of a sudden, you know, dudes are running down the field and the hamstring goes and the ACL tears and you're like, but there was nobody near them.
If your body is not ready for that burst, because football, because like each sport has like a different level, a different type of conditioning that you do. Right. And in football, it's not mostly about endurance like basketball or soccer. It's more about bursts and about, you know, that first like impact. And they go take you through, because baseball is similar too, because it's about the takeoff from the first base or the takeoff from the plate, you know, or the reaction. Right. So they teach you all these burst exercises and you put your body through them. But if you haven't put your body through enough of that conditioning, then all of your soft tissue becomes vulnerable. That's why you see a lot of guys deal with hamstrings during preseason or deal with growing injuries. You know what I'm saying? Muscles or those weaker muscles that aren't protected by, you know, others, I guess, in the body that say those muscles are more vulnerable to pulls. So that's why you see it, I think. And it doesn't have to be anything. They can just run a route or do one cut or do one burst. But when I see a person turn a corner and break his leg, that's when I'm like,
that's something else.
That's something else. I mean, you know, break your leg turning the corner.
So this is something when you start breaking bones randomly and nobody touches you. You got to be like, so can we check your bone density and see what we got going on? Well, maybe JJ Watt just has old bones.
Well, at least he got his contract intact because Odell Beckham.
Yeah, because you know, and I kept saying, I was like, well, this is a contract year. Everybody balls out their contract year, and yet Odell Beckham had failed to do so, and now he cannot do so.
Well, no, I'm gonna take it. No, Annalise, if you really think about it, here's the funny thing. Like, he had actually played well the last few games. If you go look at his stats, the Giants are not playing well, and that's
now the Giants aren't playing well. But didn't he miss the first game?
He missed the first.
He didn't miss the first two. He missed the first game,
and he had like five touchdowns in 4 games. Like,
yeah, but but still, I guess maybe because the Giants aren't doing well, you just don't hear that much about it. But he didn't seem to be balling out to the standards of typical, contract year dudes. But 5 touchdowns, 4 games, not bad. Did he but I thought his second game might have been 5 touchdowns.
I may be
in
wrong.
3 games because
I'm wrong.
I thought week 2 he was terrible. So
here's his stats against your Eagles: 9 catches, 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. Against the Buccaneers, 7 catches, 90 yards. Against the Chargers, 5 catches, 97 yards, and a touchdown. So I'm just saying, he's been playing as well as he could play. And it's quite obvious that all things considered. I'm not saying by no means that he may or may not get what he's looking for in a contract, but I don't think that. Here's my point. I don't think he was going to get the break the bank contract anyway, because somebody made a point. It's funny because the Falcons was just in the Super Bowl and they probably should have won. I think we've had that discussion 18,000 times, but they said no team has in the modern day has never won a Super Bowl with the highest paid receiver or a high top 5 receiver paid. And if you think about it, every time someone signs one of these receivers to that contract, they say that team does not cash in because of a receiver. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not something you do.
Right.
Thinking that, okay, I'll sign Odell Beckham to the highest contract a receiver ever had. That's not going to guarantee you anything, going to make anything different. So why would you strap yourself tight by giving all the money to the receiver? You know what I'm saying? Right. Instead of looking at the positions that kind of do matter: offensive line, tackles, defensive ends, and of course the quarterback. So, yeah, it was an interesting little statement. But Odell, he's gonna get paid, but it's just, I just don't think he was gonna.
I don't think he's gonna
break the bank anyway. So
well, one, I have been saying, because everybody was like, the better receiver, this, that, and the other, and I'm like, but with his antics on the field more so than off the field, because I personally, I'm like, I don't blame the Giants for being like, we can't make you the franchise at this particular juncture, because dude, in the middle of a game, depending on how his emotions run, will hurt you more than he'll help you.
Right.
And so I can't make you the highest paid receiver if I can't really trust you. And that's a matter of trust.
Is this current?
It's what current?
I'm sorry, I just Googled Odell Beckham and it says, I guess Drake went to go visit him in the hospital. And they took a picture.
Why you bring that up in front of her?
They took a picture together.
Why did you bring that up in front of her?
I don't know.
He's just waiting.
It says Drake encourages Odell Beckham Jr. I'm gonna post this right now. I'm sorry. This is too good.
Yes.
That's too good. This is too good.
Oh gosh.
This is too good. I gotta post it.
That gave me life right there. Drake, huh?
Yep.
Come through, big fella. Okay.
You good?
Drake says encourages.
There's so many. I just want you to know. I just want you to know the jokes here are writing themselves.
That's what I was thinking. I'm saying, like, as soon as
the jokes are writing themselves.
Encourage Odell.
It's really too easy. It's too easy.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna hold it together. I'm gonna save that for the Facebook group and not the show.
I'm sorry, Rod, but that was just. I was looking up his stats. And I saw the story. Anyway, go ahead.
So for those of you that watch, if you're not in the Facebook group, you need to get in the Facebook group. It's gonna be good.
Oh, speaking of the Giants, so I guess Dominic, your boy got suspended. What's his name?
Dominique.
Yeah.
Yes.
DRC.
Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't exactly understand. So they suspended him because he came late, or because he came and they told him he wasn't going to start and he left, and then they were like, "We're going to suspend him." I can't figure out. Like, it seems to be a whole lot falling apart in the Giants locker room, and it's a lot to keep up with.
It seems like, I guess because of the altercation, I guess, on the game or something. But they had told him he was suspended.
Wait, it was an altercation? I missed so much on Sunday.
Yeah, because you were still in G-Ho mode, you know what I'm saying? But
but the thing is we were, what were we doing? Oh, I might have been outside during that time. Because I was like, we got back to the house to watch the game. The game had started, though.
Well,
so I might have missed that portion of the game.
Something had to have been said as soon as he hit the locker room.
Yeah, so it was kind of like it grew from the game, and then it boiled over into something after the game.
Yeah, well, they said he wasn't. What is it? How McAdoo said that he wasn't in practice, and so we are going to suspend him.
Yeah.
But I think the original reports were that when he got there, they told him that he wasn't going to play this week, or he wasn't going to start, something like that.
Yeah.
And so he left.
And I think that's what made him mad because.
Right.
Yeah, so now they're saying now Eli Apple is being benched. So both corners look like it looks like he was trying to make a statement and just bench some of the folks on defense. That's basically what it looks like.
Well, I know a couple people are reporting, and then I know a couple Giants fans feel like McAdoo has lost the team.
Yeah, it's saying right now Eli Apple not happy with benching. Talking about it's not just one guy. No, but it can be. And you are terrible.
Sir, yeah, I was going to say, sir, you were. I'd have been okay had they cut him.
Look, if your mom is more famous than you are and you're the professional football player, Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah. And guess who they play this week?
Who do they play?
The Broncos. Good luck with that.
Oh, yeah. Have fun with that.
I don't know.
0-5 just hurts. That just stings.
Yeah. I don't know. People keep trying to get me to say that the Eagles are going to lose tomorrow. I was like, I never pick against my team. I'm not going to say that.
And the funny thing about it, too, is they talking, this kind of ties right into Ben Roethlisberger about that class with Eli and Phillip Rivers and Ben. Mm-hmm. It seems like I think Phillip Rivers is actually playing decently. His team just doesn't put it together every week.
Right. I mean, last week somebody had to win, either him or either the Chargers or the Giants, because they were both 0-4.
But here's the funny thing about it is, I told somebody, I said he's following right in the footsteps of the legendary quarterback for the Chargers that never played in the Super Bowl, Dan Fouts. He's exactly Dan Fouts. He throws the ball around. He's going to be in the record books, in the top 5, of all time, of all the numbers, and never play in the Super Bowl. I was like, Dan Fouts was a beast back in the 80s.
That's true.
Never played the Super Bowl because he had to deal with guys like Marino, guys like Elway, you know what I'm saying? Guys like Bernie Kosar, who were, and Jim Kelly. And I told people, I was like, he just played in one of those eras where he just wasn't going to beat those guys, beat them consecutively to get into a Super Bowl, let alone when I get to the Super Bowl, I got to beat Joe Montana.
Timing is everything, even in sports. Right. Timing is everything.
Right.
But
so speaking of that, then that's a nice little transition to timing. So the timing for the vice president to timely leave after seeing the beginning of the game with the Colts. I mean,
Listen.
You want to talk about the timing, or do we want to talk about the tweet?
I want to talk about the fact that we know in our right mind that whole thing was a publicity stunt, and at the end of the day, it was just
Nobody stop it. Y'all had him there just so he could walk out when the players took the knee, but whatever. So, the timing was convenient. The whole we're going to change the narrative is convenient, if you will.
Yeah.
We're going to hijack what it's really for and continue to tell you that it's disrespectful to the flag and the country and the anthem and all of that, when clearly that's not what it's for. Personally, I feel like I really wish, I know it's not going to happen, but I really wish everybody for the Cowboys would take a knee on Sunday. I really do, because I mean, Jerry Jones was like, if you take a knee, you'll be benched, you won't play the game. Ooh, one, that's fine. I still get paid for the game because I'm here.
Right.
And two, if the entire team takes the knee, you gonna bench all of us, Jerry? Okay, let's see it.
Yeah.
I'm all for calling his bluff on that.
Well,
and then some people were like, well, Dak Prescott probably wouldn't take a knee.
I was about to say Dak isn't taking no knee.
And that's fine. But guess what? If Jerry's a man of his word and he gonna bench everybody that takes a knee, Dak still can't play ball.
Well,
he doesn't have a soul to hand that ball off to.
Well,
nobody to snap it to. Nothing.
So let me go with this then. So, because I see like three different things happening right now, and the first thing that's happening is when it comes to Trump, President Trump, Donald Trump, whatever, it's really hard to not react because of who he is and the nature of what he is and how he became president and now is president and the things you hear and see. And I told somebody, I said, you know why when you go to a comedy show, they always tell you don't get into, when you're in the audience, don't get into it with the comedian.
Right.
You know why that is? It's not because you may not be as funny as him, but he has the microphone.
I was about to say, he's got the mic.
Right.
So he's always so the people around you are going to hear you, but everybody's going to hear him and react to him. So
absolutely,
we have Trump, who technically has the largest microphone. And I wish that, quite honestly, now that how things have gone, I almost wish that the players would just move on from all of this and not play into the concept of, not saying they shouldn't protest, but find a different way to do it, because now the owners, the second piece of this, now the owners, like a Jerry Jones and whoever, are saying, thou shalt not kneel and all this stuff about the flag. And then the third piece is what you said, but it's not technically about the flag. So you got all this working as one big, again, protest mania. Here it is at its best. And it's almost like the players are damn if they do and they damn if they don't. If they do it, what are they doing it for?
My thing is they can always just go back to how it used to be done and eliminate the whole issue. The players used to be in the locker room during the national anthem.
Right.
Back in the day.
They didn't come out until after the anthem was played. And then that way you don't have to worry about anybody being up in their feelings for standing, sitting,
I agree.
or whatever. I mean, then you had the people in the stand that can make their choices. Like, I had somebody ask me today, a friend of mine, he asked me, because I told him I was going to the game tomorrow, and he asked me, was I going to stand for the national anthem? And I was like, I haven't stood for the national anthem since my freshman year in college. So I'm not changing that tomorrow just because I'm gonna be at a football game and people up in their feelings about it. I haven't stood. I'm not standing tomorrow. I was like, I'm not changing.
Go ahead, Rob.
So what about this? Because I heard First Take podcast today while I was at the gym, and Max was like, as a compromise, how about those who want to stand, go out to the field, stand. Those who don't, just stay either not in the locker room but in the tunnel. And then after all the, the anthem is played, whatever, then they come out on the field. I felt, I don't want to say some kind of way, but I felt like, I don't know, that didn't necessarily sit with me because I feel like people are going, you got those folks that are that petty that will actually look out there with their program like, okay, well, number 76 is not out there. It's time to, start blowing up his Twitter feed or, spotlighting him or whatever. So I don't think there's going to be a happy medium, whatever you decide to do.
No, that's why I said I think they're damn if they do, damn if they don't, depending on what it is. I'll go back to your point, though, Lenise. I will say this. I stand. And I'll, put my hand on my heart and I do it. And it's not because I don't know what the words mean and all that stuff, but I look at it from a symbolism of just the aspect of just the people that are serving us as far as the armed forces. That's really the main reason why I do it. It's not, and I don't, and here's the thing too, and I'm not saying be oblivious to it, but we don't sing the words. So it's not, so I literally listen to the national anthem thinking in my mind about, paying the respect to the fallen soldiers and the soldiers that are out there protecting the country.
But I've never been of the frame of mind that not standing for the national anthem means that I don't respect and appreciate the military. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying. Right. So that's. I've never been of that thinking. I'm still not of that thinking. Like when people are like, "Oh, but and even when you have military people that are like, "I fought and died for the flag." Actually, you didn't. You fought and died for what it represents.
I feel you on that.
That's just my thing with it. But to me, all of it is a personal choice. And I guess, the thing with the football players and their protests and trying to use their platform for social change, it's, in order for change to happen, it's got to be uncomfortable. It's going to have to be uncomfortable for the owners, the league, the fans, everybody, for it to ever get anywhere. So this cluster that we have right now where, people can't determine if they're doing it for Trump, if they're doing it because it was for the original reasons that originally started, and which the players that have been doing it all along since last season and so forth, and even some of the ones that started just in preseason this year, they were with the original because the Trump thing just happened. So they were with the original reason and purpose and why it was all started. So you have to, they could come up with another way to do it, but I don't know if any other way is going to make them as uncomfortable as seeing them kneel during the national anthem.
But I think but I think to our perspective, we can do things like that because maybe we don't have the one influence that they do have, and that's the green. So my thing is, for the athletes that are doing things, bravo, thank you. But for the ones that just are standing or holding arms and just to do it as a symbolism, that's not necessarily making it uncomfortable. That's just false advertisement. And I think what I'm saying, Lenise, is I'm with you. It has to go past a certain point, but that point is doing action.
Well, Colin Kaepernick has been very active, and so in the community and so forth and whatnot, what have you, and the other players that were protesting at that time, they have too. It's out there. No, it's not taking up all of the headlines like this is, but you can see that they're actually doing something, trying to affect change. Because again, change starts on your local level before you can actually change anything nationally.
Well, let me make this point real quick. Wouldn't it be better though than to worry about if I'm a player and I'm making change? Let's just say, for example, I'm one of those players and I've actually done some things.
Right.
It'd be better for me to take my platform and stop worrying about what I'm gonna do in front of the flag and actually say, guys, forget the flag. You need to look at this community, what I've done for this community. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if we keep trying to figure out what's the best way to not disrespect the flag and all of this, even as individuals, How about we just talk about what we are doing? How about, I guess that's what I'm saying. I would love for the players to just say, to hell with all this flag stuff and all this national anthem stuff. Not saying they shouldn't protest, but let's just talk about what we are doing so that people can understand why we did what we did.
Things are taking place because several owners have signed on, going to back different programs that the players' initiatives are doing or whatever, in order to, if it's nothing else but to keep the peace so that they stand for the flag. But they're throwing money into those programs and those initiatives that the players have for the community. So something is getting done, but like with everything else, we're running a marathon. It's not a sprint.
I agree with that.
I feel like what you're looking for, you can find, but you're not going to get it in the mass quantity and as fast and as grandiose as you want it right now, because it's going to take time.
So let me ask this question though. Trump puts out one tweet and the whole NFL reacts.
That's because Trump went after the owners' pockets.
Yeah.
And we all know that. They reacted. The owners reacted, not necessarily the players, but the owners reacted because he told the people to walk out of the stadium if the players take a knee, stop watching the game, turn it off. It's not good anyway. They're making horrible calls. So he went after their pockets. So yes, the people reacted because he was in a microphone. It wasn't even a tweet. He actually said it in a real full speech.
I agree.
And he called all those people sons of bitches. And, you know, like Wanda Sykes said, I'm kind of amused by that. But, you know, as she said, she's like, I feel like all of the mothers of the NFL should show up at the White House and be like, who you calling a bitch? Because that's really what he did. He talked about their mamas.
So to that point,
yes,
though.
So he said that, and the owners reacted because, again, you've gone after my money.
Okay.
You've gone after my money, and we all know that in the good old boy network, money outweighs friendship every time.
Go
ahead, Rod. Go ahead.
Like Pete said, the puppet master knows what buttons to push. With those owners, let me go after your money. With the players, let me blow every dog whistle that I can blow to get you riled up. What else? I mean, think about it. You name a hot button topic in this country, he knows how to blow it and how to get people to react. In the end, it's not about for him. He can claim it's about the flag and disrespecting the flag and whatever. All this mess is about putting attention on him.
So because I really want to dig into this point. So he makes the tweet, or he says it in the speech, right? The players and the owners react. The owners react relative to the fact of what you just said, trying to take money out my pocket. You cross, that's a business. You cross the line, business type thing. You're trying to, get people, and you got the players, reacting because I'm no son of a bitch and I'm this and I'm that, and you ain't gonna tell me what to do, so I'm gonna do it. But I think that's where I am. I didn't say it as elegant as I may be able to say it now earlier about the whole protest and the flag and the national anthem. They reacted to Trump to counter the things that he said. But we know that the majority of them were only doing that because of Trump. So if your actions weren't genuine from the beginning, I'm saying there is a percentage that we know the action were genuine, but all of a sudden it seemed like a good percentage of the players started to get caught up in this, what I'm gonna do for the national anthem, I'm gonna lock arms, whatever. Even Aaron Rodgers, all these different players. Right. But if you're not doing it for the genuine nature of what's really happening, doesn't that somewhat counter the concept of doing the right thing? Like, if I know I'm doing something because somebody out of spite, and even though it may seem to be the right thing, but I'm doing it out of spite, and now I'm just doing it because I started something, and if I stop doing it now, People saw me kneel, or people saw me do something. So now if I don't do it, you know what I'm saying, they know I'm not genuine. To me, I just think that because of the nature of how he incorporated himself into the process, the owners now, some of them backtracking a little bit, right? Some of them, you know, Jerry Jones and stuff. But now you got the players sitting there in this conundrum where they got to make a decision on, how do I go about protesting, or how do I go about getting the message out, when the majority of them only joined in because of what Trump said. So I think that's what I'm saying is, what is the genuine nature of these players? It'd be interesting to understand more about the genuine nature of these players. Are they really wanting to protest to make things uncomfortable, or have they truly been doing it just as a reactionary action or method towards Trump, now possibly towards owners like Jerry Jones? You see what I'm going with that? Like they weren't genuine. Some were, and the ones that are, like I said, bravo, because we've been talking about those folks. But now,
okay, but let's say this: the ones that we know from the beginning, you count as quote unquote genuine. The ones that came in because they were reacting to what Trump said, I guess we're counting as disingenuine, or just to what the original cause or purpose was. But perhaps they did it. Perhaps some of them do it as a reaction to Trump, and then have a shift in thinking and are like, okay, wait, no, this is what it's really for. And I should have been on board from the beginning. I wasn't, but I am now. I don't agree with you in the line of thinking of that. Okay, you're doing it, it's reactionary, so it can't be towards the original purpose because you didn't start from the very beginning. No change, no line of thinking, no people getting on board with stuff. Everybody is not a ringleader. Everybody is not I'm going to be at the front of the line for the march.
Right.
So more people often than not are followers. So maybe what they needed to get them to this point to where they want to actively and effectively affect social change was Trump needed to say something. Maybe what he did at the time was awful, annoying, and frustrating. And we won't know until much later. But maybe it actually backfired on him. Maybe he actually got more people involved in trying to make a difference in the community and how Black people and people of color are treated in this country by accident.
Maybe.
And so I am not on board with condemning them just because they didn't kneel with Colin Kaepernick and Malcolm Jenkins and all of them last year. Well, saying that they're disingenuous is kind of condemning them.
No,
because you're
saying they're disingenuous is saying that the first action of what they were doing was the truth. If they've saw the light since then, they've seen the light. But what I'm saying is the facts are right there. The optics are right there. Players weren't kneeling. Players weren't supporting Colin Kaepernick. Players were not supporting the concept. That's what I'm saying.
But here's my thing. It's not always about how you get here. I just need you here.
But if you're not here, but if you're here for different reasons,
but you don't know that though.
Right, I don't know that.
You are assuming because they weren't kneeling in the beginning and they didn't kneel until Trump said something that they are always going to be kneeling or protesting in reaction to Trump, where they could have had a change of heart, a change of thinking. And like I said, we won't know that today. We won't even know that tomorrow or next week.
Or Sunday.
That is going to take time.
I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying.
Everybody is in their own space and in their own place, and they get to the points that they get to at different times. So again, if while you're here, if your original reason for being here is because you were upset with Trump, but somewhere along the way you get it, I'm okay with that.
But do you agree that there are people that aren't going to get there because they aren't genuine? Do you agree with that?
I won't say that it's genuine. I won't say that they aren't genuine. I will say that there are people that will not be in it for the original cause, because even if they call it as standing up, and as people have been saying since, Agent Orange has been elected, resist, even if they're a part of that faction of the we're just resisting what this clown is saying and doing, it might not be for what the original reason for the protest was started, but maybe it's for something else. Everybody has different reasons. Everybody is driven for different things. So I won't, whatever their reason is, I won't call it disingenuine, because it means something to them, so it's genuine to them. It just might not be the reason that we want it to be. It might not be what we want it to be for. And then again, like I said, they could at some point be here and get here. And they needed that catalyst to propel them to start to be, because again, everybody's not out in the forefront. Everybody's not going to run and take the baton and be like, look at me. That's just not, the majority of people in this world are going to be followers. So maybe now they fall in line and they get in line. It's too soon to tell. We just honestly don't know. We can only go based off of what we've seen so far, and we're assuming that the majority of people that got in the past week or so is because of Trump. But we don't know why that was why they started. We honestly don't know why they stayed.
There are people that are always going to be in it for the optics. They're always going to be in it because they don't want to look like I said, you start something, maybe there are reasons. And if it is, like I said, I don't know, but I just want those reasons. I guess as a fan of the sport, I'm going to continue to look for more. I want more. I know I can't get it right now, maybe, but I want to know more about what they're doing so that I can look and understand and truly feel what these cats are going through relative to just looking at them as spoiled, petty millionaires. Because a lot of fans look at them like that. You see what I'm saying?
Right. But what you're looking for, you can find. Google.
No, I get that, but
like you want them to tell you. Everybody also doesn't do that. Some people work quietly in the background. They don't want all the pomp and circumstance.
So you wouldn't think from a perspective of, if you're doing something, you wouldn't, if you know you're doing something, and I'm not saying a person is always comfortable telling people about what they do, but if I'm doing something and I know it's good, and I know if I share it, it's going to be organic because it's going to show people that things are happening and maybe encourage other people to do more. But you would rather just talk about how you protest? Like, I'm trying to understand, like, I can Google things. I get that, Lanice. But if I have a platform and I know that's an organic platform and I can sit here and say, I'm doing this. Like when I listen to certain athletes, there are a couple of athletes that are saying, this is what I'm doing. And then there's other athletes that are just along, like you said, they're just along for the ride. I'm not saying they got to tell me everything, but we're not seeing enough of athletes, in my opinion, just saying, I'm doing this. Keep it simple. We're doing this. If I got to Google...
But just to play devil's advocate, everybody is not able to always articulate what they are doing. I mean, case in point, I can point to my quarterback in Charlotte and whatever. Very active. Hush, shut up. Very active.
I didn't say anything.
However, he ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer when he gets on the podium.
Yeah.
So do you necessarily want somebody like that?
Yeah.
Saying, hey, this is what I'm doing in the community, or this is what I'm doing to, to shine a light on the struggle of my people.
Well, it gets to the point Tory made last week of saying, even a person like Colin Kaepernick probably wasn't thinking it was going to be blown up to this proportion relative to him being the person that leads, as opposed to people that's been studying racism and activists and other politicians that support the effort. I get that, but like I said, maybe I'm asking for too much. I'll admit it. I'll agree.
I know, I don't necessarily think you're asking for too much, but I really think you were looking for an end game, and we're really in the middle of the game. Like you want final results right now, and nobody can give you that.
But how about some results though?
I mean, I guess, Lise, I'm not necessarily looking for the complete end game. I'm looking for the plan. I'm looking for what's the plan.
But that's okay. Well, from jump, the protest has never really had a plan. Even when Colin Kaepernick started, it never really had a plan. He was making a statement. It was his own personal thing, and it bubbled from there and spread to other players, and people were like, yeah, this makes sense. That's the good thing that he's doing. And then he started doing work in the community. Mm-hmm. So it grew from there. And then the other players that were on board, they started doing things in the community. Now you have the owners reacting to Trump, and in an effort to try to get the players to stand, you've got owners, promising, guaranteeing whatever it is to give money to the various charities. There was even something today, the NFL's partnering with, I think it was Morehouse, and some stuff for the community, for the education, Black people and the Black boys. I can't remember the whole thing. I retweeted something that somebody had tweeted. I think Moore Anderson did it. So I retweeted it. You can find it on my Twitter. So there are things happening, but again, it's slow. So you got to pay attention to when it's being said or when it's posted or you read about it and go, oh, okay. And you can track it back to, yes, this is what happened. And again, if the owners are throwing money into the community and the players' charities to get them to stand, and it benefits what they are trying to get done as far as effective change and educating and helping with trained police officers and thus and such, I don't care that your motivation is you just don't want to lose any more money.
I agree with that.
I don't care at all. You're a billionaire. Cut the check. I cut the check. If you're telling the players, we will give you X amount of dollars if y'all put this together, if you stand for the anthem, I'll take that. And so I don't think you're asking for anything wrong, Pete. I think you're just wanting like a full laid out plan and a full end result, and this is our ultimate goal. And there's nobody here that can give you that.
No, well, but the interesting thing is, in any movement, we've seen, and like I said, again, maybe it's just it's buried on the third page of the newspaper and I gotta go look. I mean, whatever it is. But think about it though, every movement that we've gone, I'll just take it back as simple as the week after the election. How many protests did we have on Trump? We had protests in D.C., we had the protests in Vegas, we had the protests in Seattle or Portland or somewhere, the women's protests, all these protests because he got elected. So he didn't even do anything wrong when it comes to the laws of the land. He got elected and we protest, and there were people leading these movements. There was activists and actual names attached to these movements protesting the guy because he actually got elected, which is pretty much, in our culture, our generation, our fault. We should have voted. But the bottom line is...
Right. Because as I watched all the protests, I was like, where were y'all at the polls?
Exactly. Right. So what I'm saying
is... Y'all can take it to the street to protest, but nobody can take it to the street to vote. I miss me with all of that. Miss me with all of that.
So now that we've had a conversation, we just had a conversation, a debate, right, wrong, or indifferent, about people doing things. We started with the national anthem. We ended up with a conversation about people doing things. That's all I'm saying. That's the conversation. That's the conversation. And to me, have you seen or heard the activists or the people that are latching on? Because I see a Malcolm Jenkins out there doing this thing, but I don't hear the connections of certain people the certain names that we hear all the time, like the Al Sharptons and all these other folks latching on. You put a camera in front of them. I support Colin Kaepernick. But I don't really see them latching on. So do we think that's a problem that the players are dealing with as well? Like, they're kind of feeling their way through this, and they don't really have someone or some group or somebody actually galvanizing the efforts to say this is, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've always had something like that, and I don't see that.
Well, I absolutely think that is probably part of the issue as well, is they don't, because to not to call them dumb jocks, but they probably are not skilled in, leading a movement, how to get that going, and all of the ins and outs of what they really need to do. And
probably ain't got a lot of time to worry about doing it right now.
And they probably, not right during the season,
right? They
probably don't have a lot of time to try to work all of that out. So I feel like that's probably part of the issue too, is that there's no, like I said, because from the beginning, there was no plan. Even when Colin started the protest.
Yeah, he was just trying to bring awareness. He was literally just trying to put eyes on the situation.
His plan was to bring awareness and put eyes on the issue.
Yeah.
He's done so.
He wasn't trying to actually solve the problem, but he wanted people to know, you better recognize that there is a problem before we even
that there is a problem. And so to that, he's done that. Like, he reached his plan, mission accomplished.
Right.
But as you said, like, there's no real end game. Kind of like when we were talking about people who protesting the NFL because Colin Kaepernick didn't have a job. Well, what's your end game? What is your plan? Are you protesting until he works, until he plays? What are you doing? So there's no guidance, there's no structure. People are just out in the streets protesting. And I honestly don't know if there is any true, what's the word I'm looking for? True leader. I'll go with leader in the African American community. That can galvanize and move the crowd effectively.
Last point, real quick. Jamel Hill. I mean, is there any words? I mean, I guess I'm gonna play both sides of the coin on this. I can't tell her not to do, because that'll be telling somebody not to protest or not to stand, or, you know what I'm saying, or to stand or whatever. But I will say this: you do have a boss, you do have managers, and at certain times and situations, I mean, because people act like she lost her job. She just got suspended again, and this ain't the first time. It probably won't be the last time she gets suspended. So,
well, this is her second time being suspended.
I think it's her third time. I think.
Oh, is it her third time?
Because she got suspended. She got suspended early on because of some stuff, I think, that popped up, and I maybe I'm wrong, but some stuff popped up. Yeah, she said something about that, and then she got suspended again. Yeah, before they even had the 6 o'clock show, when they were doing his and her. So it's been a couple times. And then see now Michael.
This is the third time.
And then Michael Smith.
But again, LeBatard gets suspended all the time.
LeBatard gets suspended. Stephen A. Smith has been suspended twice. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Hell, what was your boy? What was his name? Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd got suspended a couple of times. It don't matter. It really don't matter. And they say some outlandish stuff.
Right.
So I think with her, they just trying to control a little bit of her social media reaction, which honestly, I mean, let's be honest. Sometimes you can go overboard. Not saying she did, but some people get on that thing and get addicted and just start spewing everything that comes to their mind.
But think about it though.
Like Agent Orange.
What she did. She could have said a lot worse. I mean, and I'm like you, Pete. Lord knows I ride with Jamel and Mike. And I'm gonna have to play both sides of the fence in this too. Again, when you start messing with NFL owners' money and whatever, I'm pretty sure somebody put a call in the John Skipper like, get your girl.
Yeah.
But not even that. Not even the NFL owners' money. You're messing with your employer's money, because that was the issue. You are, quote unquote, the worldwide leader in sports.
So
I don't need you to piss off a sports team like the Cowboys, because they are one of the largest franchises in the country.
They're the biggest money making franchise in the country,
right?
As far as
so that they decide they don't want to come to us for interviews. They won't send their players to our show to talk to us and all of that good stuff. Now you've messed with my money, because in order for me to be the worldwide leader in sports, I need access to all players and all teams. You can't alienate them.
No.
And that's essentially because, and like I said, she didn't say anything wrong. Absolutely. If you were, what should you do about what Jerry Jones said, and you just don't believe in the fact that he is telling his players they have to stand or they won't play, then boycott the Cowboys, boycott the Dolphins. I get all of that. You didn't say anything wrong. But here's the thing. You can't say that on your social media. You can say that in the house with your homies.
Yeah.
You can't say that on social media because you work for ESPN. It's just that simple.
Like, there's no way that she made that tweet not knowing that it was going to raise some eyebrows. And she's done that before, and a lot of people do it. So nobody should be surprised. So when people say, I support Jamel, well, I support her freedom of speech. But my mom and my grandmother told me a long time ago, just because you got a right to say something, sometimes you need to keep your mouth shut. And and like you said, it's more of a private statement, more of a private conversation, more how we talk amongst each other, out to lunch or something like that.
And that was my whole thing. I was like, people were all surprised. And I was like, well, I don't know why you're surprised, because in today's age, almost every company has an internet policy.
That's true too.
I know my company does. Both of them.
That's true too.
And that's the reason I don't ever, if you know where I work for my full and part-time jobs, it's because you really know me. Because you're not getting that information off of my social media, because I'm not telling.
That's true too.
I don't need anything tracked back to the job. And even then, I'm still mindful of some of the stuff that I say, because I'm like, well, somebody might inadvertently see this through somebody else. Like if they know enough people to see my page.
Yeah, I get it.
So, you just can't run up there and be like, oh, well, this is horrible. And, this sucks.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful. On that note, y'all get some rest. Go to bed.
All right.
All right. Talk to you later.
All right. I'll let you know.
Peace.